One of the best feelings in the world is finally getting to do that level up, until you realise it involves maths and more reading. So here's how to tackle that level up in 5 minutes with the least amount of pain possible. Let's get into it, shall we? Hello, you wonderful people, you. I'm Dracthonia and I'm a DM. Go check out our D&D campaign over here somewhere. And I've been a TTRPG enthusiast for well over a decade now, and I love to share that passion with new and budding players and DMs like you. But I'm also lazy and easily distracted.
Squirrel!
Read neurodivergent. So I want to make things as easy as they can be with as minimal effort as physically possible. So leveling. It's confusing, isn't it? How many times have we all left it until the last possible minute and then panic leveled? Or sat in a Discord call crying to our DMs until they did it for us? I mean, what? Tell me, before we get started, what's the bit that you find most intimidating? Tell me in the comments down below. Luckily for you, I'm going to break it down in as simple a way as possible so you can still leave it to the last possible minute and do it really quickly with no one any the wiser. First and foremost, your level is determined by a predefined amount of experience points, or whenever your DM feels benevolent enough to bestow upon you the powers to unlock new and untold secrets, whichever way your DM decides at the time. And then the way in which your level is defined is by your class, and then sometimes a little bit by your race. But how do we actually level? To break this down easily, we're going to be using Bob here to help us through the order of which we level up. So, let's start the clock and hope that we actually manage to cover this in 5 minutes alone. Step 1. Bob here. This Bob. This isn't Bob. This is Strigger. This is Bob. Bob here is a fighter advancing to level 3. Now, most people will tell you to roll your hit points here, but I'm going to be controversial and tell you to leave it to the end. So stick around to find out why. So first, we're going to look at our class leveling table, which can be found on these pages here. And these tables tell us various informations about our classes. Now, first thing that we want to know, is there a proficiency bonus increase? These are every 4th level up, so not level 1. So Bob here is level 3 and won't be increasing his proficiency bonus, so we can move on to step 2. Next, we want to look at our class features. These will be different for each class and will give you things like extra attacks or special skills, which are all unique to your specific class. And you'll want to check with your DM early on whether or not you're going to be using optional class features found in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. But otherwise, all the features that you need to worry about are going to be in the player's handbook. Now, this column is also where you'll find out if this level includes an ability score improvement. This is just where you get a +1 to a ability score of your choice, or you can trade this in for a feat, whatever you fancy at the time. And these ability score improvements tend to be every 4 levels. But Bob's at level 3, so no ability score improvement, but it is the level we get our subclass. Now, you might be wondering, what's a subclass? Where did this come from? No one mentioned this to me. Basically, level 3, each class specializes, whether that be an archetype, whether that be a pact, whether that be some kind of path or tradition, and it basically defines your future features. It's how we become arcane trickster rogues, or, you know, sell our souls to eldritch horrors for some kick-ass zappy spells. Bob here, being a fighter, gets a martial archetype, and he's going to go for Battle Master. Level 3 is probably going to be your most complicated level, so take your time with it. But basically, pick an option that sounds cool to you, add the extra features that that level gives you, and then refer to the specialization each time you get a new prompt in the levels up table. By the way, if you're not understanding any of this, likely it is you're in the wrong place. And actually you're looking for something a little more along the lines of how to understand your player sheet, or your first session as a player. So here's a distraction to go watch these videos and catch up, and then you can come back and finish this with us. Cool. Step 3. Next, we have class abilities. Now, fighters don't have any, so Bob gets to take a dance break. And this is also why fighters are often advised as like first-time player classes. But everyone else needs to search the various columns in their level up table and see if they need to add things like cantrips, spell slots, known spells, invocations, adding damage or attacks if you're more of a stabby, fighty, ragey sort. Once you've figured out those, we get to move on to the next step. Step 4. Now, you might think that you're done at this point, but I'm sorry to say that if you went for one of those races that at the time sounded kind of cool and you thought it was really great to try and be different, well, turns out that some of those have effects or spells that you need to keep an eye out for as you level. Generally, if you went for one of the standard races, like plain old human Bob here, you're all good and can continue your dance party. Step 5. Finally, we get to hit points. Now, as I said, most people do this first, so this is a tad controversial, but if you do it at the end, any ability score increases that you jammed into Constitution, whether from feats or the ability score increases, you can just tally it all up at once rather than going back over it a second time because you stubbornly did it first just to get the maths out of the way and done with. So with hit points, you can either take the class average or take a chance of rolling your fate, whichever your DM dictates, or usually it's a player preference, and the dice you roll is determined by your class, and then you just add your Constitution modifier. So for Bob here, he gets a D10 to roll once per level up and adds his con mod to get an extra 6+2 hit points this level. And phew, okay. That should be you leveled up in 5 minutes. Hopefully. Now, if you're struggling to do this all by hand, there are tools out there to help ease this leveling process. You can use things like D&D Beyond or Roll20's Charactermancer, which will help you through making a character, storing important spells or attack info, and leveling. So make sure to check out those resources if you're struggling. Hopefully with this info, you can minimize all that frantic searching you do to level up and can bash out a level quickly and hassle-free so you can get back to what's really important. Binding up your DMs so they have a D&D-induced existential crisis. Let me know in the comments below how those level ups go and tell me what specialization is your favorite. And if you're multiclassing and wondering why I didn't say anything about it before this, no. Go away. Alright, thank you for watching, and thank you to our Ko-fi members for supporting the channel and letting me do what I do. Make sure to check out our other videos, and also check out our new D&D Curse of Strahd campaign live fortnightly on Twitch.